everyone, and welcome to another episode of Monkeying Around Reviews. Today we have the Aabeloy 1080p video camera. This thing can shoot video at 30 frames per second, and it can do stills at up to 24 megapixels. It also has a 16 by digital zoom built inside, as well as a fill light. So you don't have to worry about bringing a light with you because there is one built right into it. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what's inside. So we open it up, and the first thing I see is instructions for the stereo microphone. That's right, it does come with an external mic that hooks onto it. The user manual for the camera. The wireless remote control. Right there. What else we got in here? Looks like the AV camera. It goes from a mini plug to a audio and video plug there. The USB charging adapter. The USB mini cable. A battery. And this is always nice, a second battery. So this camera comes with two batteries, so you can always have one on backup and ready to go. Got that external microphone I was telling you about with the shoe connection there. And then the cable that connects it into the camera. What else we got in here? The lens hood. This is always a nice little addition. So all these pieces go together to attach it to the front of the camera. And then the bag here has the camera inside of it. We'll open that up. And this is the whole camera. It's about the size of my hand, actually even smaller, so about the palm of my hand. Hold it just like that, and there's even a screen here with a 270-degree rotation, so you can either look at it from back here, or if you're shooting a selfie or using it like I would for these videos, you can see it from the front of the camera and while you're looking at it. Alright, so on this camera, like I said earlier, it's got a 16 by digital zoom. So that's controlled from right here. Now, I say digital zoom, so when you zoom in, it's not an actual lens movement, it's all being done digitally. So depending on how far you zoom in or what you're looking at, it may not be able to focus in correctly or get nice and crisp. I would recommend using this just like on a cell phone at its regular focal length and not zooming in and out unless you really need to. And talking about focus, that's another thing, this only has manual focus. So digital zoom, manual focus only, that's actually listed right on their website. They want you to be aware of that those two functions are the way that they are. So on this camera, there are a few buttons to pay attention to. So this area here, it's not a button, but it's the shoe connection. So you can slide that out, and this is where the microphone will slide in. Right here is your wide and telephoto control for the digital zoom. Right here is the photo button, which also can be used as a pause button while you're recording. So you can actually pause the camera without actually stopping it. So you can continue on the same file without actually having to stop and start a file. And then you have a mode button right there. This is where the battery will go. Here's your actual stop and start record button. When you open this up, here are the rest of the buttons. You got a power button, a menu button, and then here is your up, down, left, right, and enter button. And then right here is all your connections. So you've got three different ports. You got your USB port, you've got your microphone port, and then you've got your, it's said, a TV port. That is what's using these cables right here, your composite cables, the yellow and the white. The yellow being video and the white being audio. So that being said, there is no HDMI port on here. So if you want to actually view it live, it's going to be done through these analog cables. Other than that, the only other thing on here is on the bottom, there's a little door here, and that is where the SD card slot is. So we'll just close that right on up. And then right over here is the attachment for your tripod. That is the whole camera. And this thing, it is super light. Like even when I put this battery on, we'll open one of these up, because these batteries are not heavy either. So if I slide this thing in right like that, still very, very light. Oh, Came on already. It says welcome. All right, so now I'm going to show you how easy this whole thing is to put together. So I got rid of all the stuff that you don't need for the actual operation. So we have the camera. We're going to open up the bottom, and then we're going to just have a full-size SD card. And I'm just going to slide that in. Now it does not come with an SD card. This is one of my own. You just put it in and it clicks in, just like any SD. You can close that. We already attached the battery, so you saw that, but it's just as simple as there's a release here on the bottom, and you can just put it right in and just clicks. When you open this up, that's what actually turns it on, even though there is a power button in there as well. Next we have the lens hood. It's actually in 3 different pieces. There is no mention of this in the instructions, but it's pretty simple. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take these 2 pieces and you're going to screw them together. You actually kind of got to click it on first, and then it'll allow you to screw. You can't just start screwing because the thread doesn't let it come on. So once it pops on, it lets you thread and unthread easily. So you put that on, and then you're going to take these 2 pieces and same thing, you got to kind of pop it on first, and then it's actually, then the threading's going to work. But you just want it on there. And then you take this and it has threadedness on the inside there, and you're just going to do that. And there you go. There is the lens hood. Then you're going to take the microphone, and I didn't really mention to you about how this microphone works. It's actually powered. So you can charge it. Right here is another mini USB port, so you can use that same cable that you charge the camera to charge this as well. And then here on the top you have off, on, and low cut, and then over here you have 0 decibels, a negative 10 decibels, and a positive 20 decibels. So you actually have some powered settings on there. But this right here, you're gonna loosen that, slide it into the hot shoe, tighten it down just like this. There you go. Take this cable, it plugs in on this side, just like that. And then when we take the camera and we open it up, which will turn it on, there you go. You take this cable here and it's going to plug into the middle hole when we pop this open, right there where it says microphone. So just like that. And that's it. So here is the whole camera. Still really light. I am feeling a little bit of a pull to the front with the extra weight that's been added. We do need a tightness around my wrist now since it actually has that weight. So it's simple as taking that Velcro and just like that. So now it actually wants to hold on to my hand nicely. So as you can see, it's on there pretty well. So with the lens hood on, you're not going to see the light. The power button right here that can turn the camera on and off as well, if you just push it, the light comes on. I'll do it at an angle, hopefully you can see it. So it's on, but it's bouncing into the lens hood. So you really can't use it while the lens hood's on. So if I pop that off, now you can see that light. And by just hitting that power button, light off, light on. So it's just a good thing to know. Lens hood on, can't use that light. But then again, if you have the lens hood on, it's probably daytime and you're outside because you're using this to keep the sun from hitting the lens directly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the camera that we're looking at now, and I'm going to set up this camera right next to it, and we're going to see the difference between my Canon G12 and this Aabeloy 1080p camera. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have both cameras on now, and I have them lined up to be almost the exact same shot. Now if you'll notice on the Aabeloy 1080p, I actually have it a slight bit farther back than on my Canon G12 to give us about the same look of a shot. So it actually has a little bit of a narrower view when it's on its widest angle here. But if I kind of line up my hands from here to here, that should put me right on the edge of the Aabeloy, but I have a lot more room there still with the Canon G12. So it's more of a narrow shot, but once again, this camera is advertised as a vlogging camera, so you don't really need all that extra space. In fact, all this over here that you're seeing in the Canon, this is stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with what I'm talking about, it's just other stuff in the room. so you are getting that nice tighter shot. You can see the colors are very close to each other. If you look at my shirt here, and if you look at the board here, that's where you can really see the difference in the two cameras, is that brown paneling back there, while my shirt is looking pretty close to each other on the cameras. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually go to the cameras and zoom in all the way. So it's going to be past all this, but I want you to see the difference of the analog zoom on the Canon and the digital zoom on the Aabeloy. So give me 1 second and I'll zoom in. Okay, so I stopped here before zooming all the way in on the Aabeloy. As you see, the Canon is coming right up to my neck here, where the Aabeloy is stopping at the chin. Now the Aabeloy on the digital zoom, it actually had a stopping point when you zoomed, and then it has another continual point. So this stopping point is an orange, and then when I go even farther, it's going to turn red, and it doesn't really explain why, but I'm guessing this is the safe zone of the digital where it'll still look okay, and when I go past, it's going to be more of a grainy look, but we'll see that in just 1 second. Another thing I wanted to mention is that my Canon, I actually had to turn it off and stop the recording to zoom in, while the Aabeloy, it let me zoom in digitally while it was still recording. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to zoom the Aabeloy in a little bit farther. Now I have the Aabeloy zoomed all the way in digitally into the red area of the digital zoom. So it may be looking a little bit grainier, or the colors may be looking a little more off. In fact, I think that the shirt actually still is holding that nice greenish color to it, where the Canon zoomed in is not giving you that same intensity of that. It may look a little different on playback, but right now that's the way it's looking in the monitors. We're a lot closer to height. So now as I'm staring at both cameras in front of me, and each one of them has a monitor aimed at me that's built into the camera with that 270-degree mode, so you can see when you're recording yourself, there is another thing that I've noticed. Now on the Canon, it actually has flipped the camera, so when I point over this way, it's actually showing me pointing over this way. But on the Aabeloy, it goes into a selfie mode like on your camera. So when I'm pointing over this way, it's actually showing me pointing this way on the camera. So it's not doing that swap that the Canon's doing. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to check the audio. So what you've been hearing me talk on this whole time is my Canon camera. And now that I'm switching it over, this is going to be the audio coming off of the external mic that came with the Aabeloy 1080p camera. You're going to hear that the Aabeloy microphone is actually not as crisp and clear as the Canon, but we have the ability to go and adjust it. I can bring up the decibels or bring down the decibels depending on where it is. So right now you are listening to the built-in microphone on the camera. I have not plugged in the external yet. This is the internal microphone that is just on the camera. When you hit record, this is what it sounds like. Alright, so I have plugged in the external microphone and I've turned it on, and we're set at the 0 decibel level. So this is what it sounds like external at 0 decibels. So now I'm going to switch it to the negative decibels and we'll hear how that sounds. Okay, so now it's the external microphone, and this is the negative 10 decibel setting on that mic. So external mic, negative 10. So now I'm going to switch it to the positive decibels so we can hear how that sounds. Alright, so I've changed it again. External microphone, positive 20 decibels. So we went from 0 to negative 10 to positive 20. So once again, this has been Monkey Around Reviews with the Aabeloy 1080p video camera. If you've used a vlogging camera like this before, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe.